We started the day out with some snow today, which is kind of unusual. But at the beginning of this video, you're going to see that the camera is shaking a little bit, and I apologize for that. The power went out, so I had to record this with the GoPro, and the way that I mounted it on my little light fixture caused it to swing for about the first minute, so I apologize. Let's get started. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. My name's Rick, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do a 30,000 mile update on my 2018 Crosstrek. I took the day off work today. I just got back from doing about 1,500 mile drive with my son. I took him out to Illinois to finish the semester out. And on that trip, I started thinking about different things regarding the Crosstrek. And so I thought I would do a 30,000 mile update since it's been a while since I've done one. And we're going to talk about basically all the issues I've had from the life of the car, both exterior and interior. And then we're going to talk about how the KO2 tires are doing. They have about 28,000 miles on them now. And then we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of quick and easy little issues that I've had that I had to deal with over the past couple weeks. So let's get started with all of that. So if you're new to the channel, I've got a lot of content available in my playlist about the 18 Crosstrek, from all the issues I've had to deal with and mods and just different adventures and things off-road. If you feel like it, check those out and you'll get a lot more information out of that stuff. I bought the Crosstrek new in 2017, and I previously had a 2014 Crosstrek that I put about 43,000 miles on. And the 18 was pretty much in every way better than the 14 was, and it's been a really great vehicle. And if you haven't been following around lately, my son is actually using the car now, and I bought a 2020 Jeep. So I've been driving that now for about 7 months. So looking back over the last 3 years or so of ownership, really the big problems that I've had have been around the suspension. And they haven't been anything major, but just kind of unusual. The first one was sway bar bolts coming loose and basically falling out on their own and causing a little bit of damage to my suspension, nothing major. And in the end, Subaru ended up covering it, but it took some time and really a lot of hard work from Scott over at Tucson Subaru, who's the service manager, basically pushing Subaru to find out what happened. And as it turns out, there was a run of cars where they were able to find out did not have those bolts torqued to spec from the factory. And over the last couple years, I've heard from about 10 other people now who had similar issues and had to have those repaired. So that was really kind of the biggest thing I had to deal with. Another suspension issue I had was a pretty interesting clunking on the driver's side front. And we really never figured out exactly what caused it, but where we ended up was, if you guys are familiar, the top hats on the Subarus, before they changed them, I think it was in 2019, water would get in there and they would rust out. And basically what we think happened was the bearing in the strut mount, or in the strut mount, was maybe binding up or something, and then it would release and cause a big clunk. And I'll link that video up here. You can hear the noise and check that out. But Subaru replaced the strut and spring for me, and then they redid both of my top hats, painted them or whatever. So that was a recall that they did, or a service bolt, and I can't remember which now. But those were the two big suspension issues I had. Otherwise, everything's been fine, no issues. My motor, transmission have all been great, no issues whatsoever. And really amazingly, even though it's only I think 4 horsepower difference, the 2018 just feels a lot more peppy and much better throughout the entire rev range. And the addition of the programmed extra gear, it's nice on the freeway. You get a little bit better mileage as well. As far as interior stuff goes, really the car's been pretty solid, other than, like most people, there's been some head unit issues. And really for me, it's been based around Apple CarPlay. For the last couple years, it's really been pretty sorted. Occasionally, before my son started driving the car, I would still have connection issues, and he has the same issues every now and then, but for the most part, it works really well. And I really think it's more of a kind of Apple changing things versus the Subaru having issues, or maybe just an interface between the two. Hard to say. Otherwise, the car's been pretty solid maintenance-wise, all that other stuff. I've just had to do regular stuff beyond the things that I've talked about. So as far as the KO2 tires go, probably the most popular questions I get are about my wheels and tires, and I've got a bunch of videos on that stuff. But I purchased those specific tires because of all the rocks and stuff we have around here, and they have really good tear protection. But at the time when I purchased them, out of all the off-road tires that I was considering, they really had the highest reviews, and I think they still do. And one of the big things that drew me to them as well is that people said that they have really long life, that you could easily get 60,000 miles out of them. And I have to say that now that we have 31,000 miles on the car, we actually turned 30,000 on this trip to Illinois, and now we're at 31,000. The tires still look fantastic. They really show no wear whatsoever. To look at them, they look the same as they did in the 15,000 mile update video I did. And there's about 28,000 miles on those, maybe 29,000 miles on those tires now. So really been excellent. And my only complaint with them is something I've said all along in all these other videos, is they're just a little bit loud. And especially on the freeway, I wouldn't call it a drone, but there's definitely obviously more noise over stock, and you expect that with a more aggressive tread. But if you're going to be doing off-roading, I definitely think they're worthwhile investment and a nice change. Of course, you're going to have to get different wheels, just because they're a 15-inch tire, obviously, 15-inch wheel, which will give you more sidewall and offers other benefits. But they've been a great investment, and one of my favorite mods that I've done to the car. So just a couple recent issues that we've had to deal with, and one is actually kind of been ongoing, and you guys probably have this too if you have an 18, but the car tells you intermittently that the battery's low in the key fob. And quite honestly, that started probably a year and a half ago, and it still works fine. It hasn't had any problems, but when we were on this trip, I was trying to get the car ready, since my kid is keeping it in Illinois. I wanted it to be pretty solid for him so he wouldn't have to deal with anything. So we went ahead and bought the battery. It's a 2032 battery. He changed it out, and there's a couple of videos that you can find on YouTube. It's a very simple process. It's not difficult at all. There's no reprogramming of the car needed or the key fob. Just change the battery and you're good to go. The other thing we had to deal with, it's not really a Subaru issue. A couple of the TPMS sensors went out, and it kind of all started maybe a month ago. My son kept getting low tire pressure warning, and it turns out he did actually have a screw in one of his tires. And then just a couple days after that, the sensors, at least I think it was on one of the wheels, wasn't working properly. So he went into discount, and they basically told him, oh yeah, we reprogrammed them, and it's just gonna take a day for the light to go off. Well, I knew right away that was not right, having dealt with buying the sensors before. So I don't know if the guy was just trying to screw my son over, didn't want to deal with it because it was kind of late in the day. But anyway, in Oklahoma City, of all places, I finally said, hey, let's just stop. And there's a discount tire there. Told them the story. They checked all the sensors, and actually the driver's side rear and the passenger side front were not picking up at all. So my guess is the little battery in there died. Not really sure. But they changed those out for me under warranty, because when I bought the wheel and tire package, I purchased those sensors as well. And it's 6 year, 72,000 mile warranty. So it's all working fine now. Of course, it's really cold back there and snowing, so the light comes on. You know how that probably does that for you when you have a little bit of a tire pressure change. Regardless of what it is, the light will come back on, unless he ran over something else, who knows. So other than that, the car has been really solid. I don't have any complaints. I would buy another Crosstrek again. I am currently, like I said, driving the Jeep, and have been for about 7 months, and I'm loving the Jeep, but I still have a real fondness for the Crosstrek, and if for some reason I had to drive one every day again, I would have no problems with that. The one thing about the Jeep that's nice is that it's just easier to go off-road, as I mentioned in some of my Jeep videos. It just makes life easy when you want to do that. Not into rock crawling or doing anything crazy, but just doing the trails I like to do, and being able to get over certain obstacles that I couldn't do in the Crosstrek. It's been pretty cool, and I've really enjoyed that. A video that I'm thinking of doing here soon is actually on the LP Adventure front bar and the skid plate, and whether or not I think that's a good thing to do, and some of the issues that I had with that process, and how changing things incrementally actually affects other things, and made, especially the big thing with that is losing ground clearance. So look for that video coming up. As usual, if you guys have comments or questions, you can leave those below. Also contact me by email. And if there's something about the Crosstrek that you're interested in, I haven't done a video on, I can try to do that for you, even though the car is 1,500 miles away. But happy to help with anything I can, and I hope you guys are all doing well. Take care, and we'll see you next time.